They're not 5:15.
Well, Baker is never on time, so.
No, he called to say he was at a
Yeah, I know.
partners meeting and.
It's like,
SERA Economic Redevelopment Agency will now come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, has this meeting been advertised according to law? Mr. Secretary, has this meeting been advertised according to law?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it has.
Thank you. Joan, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Diadio?
Here.
Mr. Newton?
Here.
Mr. Travisano?
Here.
Mr. Palento?
Here.
Mr. Gravelli?
Here.
Mr. Delina?
Here.
Ms. Fisher?
Here.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick? Here. Councilman Lembo?
Here.
Okay, before we start, I'd like to welcome Councilman Lembo to SERA, and
Thank you.
he says Dr. Kevin Delina now?
Yeah.
Listen,
Just graduated.
Good, congratulations.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Chairman, if I may, can we swear them in?
Yes. Okay, Pat, you want to go first?
Gotta get sworn in.
Oh, okay.
You gotta make it
If
official.
it's okay, can we read one, all three of your
I'm
names,
fine
and read
with
it one
that.
time? Is that all right with everyone?
Whatever you want.
Could everyone please stand, Mr. Levina? And Victoria, you do too, because you're the appointment. Repeat after, well, no, repeat. Too long for that. All right, Kevin Delina, Pasquale Lembo, and Victoria Kilpatrick. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to same, and to the governments established in the United States, in this state, under the authority of the people, and that you will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties as a commissioner on the SERA Economic and Redevelopment Agency, Mr. Limbo for a term of 1 year, Ms. Kilpatrick for a term of 1 year as council appointees, and Mr. Delina for the balance of the term of our preceding commissioner that will expire on July 15, 2020. Do you also
I do.
swear or affirm?
I do.
All right.
I do.
Congratulations, welcome aboard.
All right. Where's the party? Where's the party?
Somebody get close to
The first order of business is the authorization for payment of bills non-NL, that's A through J. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
Make a motion to approve payment of bills, A to L, A to J.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palento?
Yes.
Mr. Gravelli?
Yes.
Mr. Delina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Lembo?
Yes.
Next order of business is 5B, authorization for payment of bills NL related non-escrow to be paid when funds are available, and that's K, L, and M. Can I have a
Make a
motion?
motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palento?
Yes.
Mr. Gravelli?
Yes.
Mr. Delina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Lembo?
Yes.
Next order of business is 5C, authorization for payment of bills to be paid from escrow accounts, to be paid only if escrow funds are available, and that's N through R. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second.
Dennis, second.
Dennis, second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palendo?
Yes.
Mr. Gravelli?
Yes.
Mr. Delina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Lembo?
Yes.
Next is pending matters, waterfront redevelopment project.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the ramp work is ongoing with regard to the Turnpike's installation of the ramps for our redevelopment project. No work is being done on the site itself because of weather, is what they told me today. Only 20,000 cubic yards of material needs to be blended for them to be done with the radiological cleanup. They intend to go through and probably start bringing in some more PDM material, that's processed dredge material, for the capping in another 30 days or so, but they need the site to dry out a little bit. other good news that has happened is Bass Pro put up their new sign on Chevalier Avenue saying coming soon, and that was paid for by Bass Pro, I understand. And the other thing that's good news is that today they dropped off plans with the building department for Bass Pro's building so that they could start processing building permits. So that's a positive sign. We're a little frustrated because we'd like them to be moving at a much greater pace than they're moving, but those are good signs.
When's that road supposed to be done, the entrance road? This summer?
No,
No?
no.
Okay. All right, you say so.
You're talking about the ramps?
Yeah, road coming in, yes.
No.
No?
No, I mean, from the standpoint of the actual finishing up of the total ramp project, the total ramp project's gonna take a couple of years. The intention was to go through and have that ramp completed by the end of 2017. I have a feeling it's gonna probably go into 2018 because of the timing of construction. They started a month or two later than that which they thought they were gonna start.
You know, Dave, I spoke
Thanks,
to a
Ray.
guy from the Turnpike, Hearn, I think his name was.
Yeah,
And he told me that everything should be done in 2017, that 2018 date was given out incorrectly.
okay, well, that's good news.
What does he do there anyway?
He's one of the contractors. I mean, I don't think he's the major contractor for the site.
Well, Hearn is the director.
Oh, you're talking,
Yeah. Oh, Hearn is the director, he was the head director, if I'm not
okay,
mistaken.
I'm sorry, I
Right,
haven't
Mike?
worked with him in the past, so.
You don't know, no, he was the director,
His father was the judge.
you know.
The executive director.
Right, you would know.
Oh, he's the
Yeah,
executive
he was
director?
the executive, yeah.
Well, when we were dealing with the phasing and all in the final negotiations of the contract, somebody else was there.
So I
No,
guess
he
knows
was
what
the
he's talking
deputy
about.
when the project started.
Okay.
But now he's the
Yeah.
executive
Right.
director.
That's what he told me.
Got it.
Well, he's the assistant
I called him
executive director because we have an executive director who's a new guy.
That's what I thought.
And John
That's why when
O'Hearn is
you
the
mentioned the name,
assistant executive director.
So when he says 2017, that's a,
He's the man.
That's a good sign.
He really runs the turnpike. We
Right.
just, you know, you just
Well, that's
have
great news.
certain
Okay.
people that.
that'd be great.
I mean, from the standpoint, the people that I have talked with, the lower level engineers, always told me the same date that I just told you. Okay, the target originally was 2017, end of 2017, but because the work had started about 2 months later than which they thought it was gonna start, that it might run into 2018, so.
If you want to speak to any higher ups, Dave, feel free to mention my name.
Thanks, Mike.
You used to talk to the guy who was the janitor.
Joe, do you have anything?
I would simply say, on the financial obligations to the agency, SSA is compliant, you know, in terms of escrows and everything else, so.
Hey, Mike, Dave, the area that caught fire, what did they ever do with that? Did they clean that up finally?
No, it's not, right now, that is only covered over, that is part of a plan that is being worked on with the DEP to decide exactly what's going to happen. Our recommendation was to dig it up and remove any of the sulfur-type material, remove and break up the concrete, and we are waiting for final affirmation of that from the DEP.
Anything from our attorneys on this project?
Nothing, Chairman.
Nothing broken? Next matter on the agenda is B, RFPs for River Road parcels. Is there a progress report on that?
Yes, they have been issued, okay, advertised in the paper and advertised on the web. In order to go through and be able to view them, you have to go through and connect to the FTP site where everything is loaded digitally so that we don't have to go through and issue actual books to everybody that's interested. So if somebody wants to go through and look at it, they can look at the RFP. And the reason that we had to go through and do it that way is the environmental information on that site was about 4 inches thick. And we have to make it available to anybody that's interested because that environmental information is for that whole redevelopment site that included Neptune and everything else. So it's a big area, but as a result of that, we needed to go through and make sure it was digital, otherwise you would be paying some huge printing charges for everybody who picked it up.
Dave, for the sake of the new members, would you just tell them where that property is and
Sure.
what we're doing?
The property, as you go down River Road, that is River Road across the street from Buchanan Park, and in front of the barrel factory. There's a strip of property that the borough owns, not the borough, that the redevelopment agency owns, that is probably about 100 foot deep in the area of the barrel factory approximately, and about 200 feet deep next to the Neptune facility. That is probably, I think it's approximately 2.5 total acres. There are some easements across it. Some of the property is in the floodplain, and there are some wetlands on it, and that's all described in the RFP. But the intention of the RFP was to go through and encourage somebody to go through and either put in a marina-related use to help support the boat ramp across the way, a food facility, a banquet facility, something of that sort, something that is compatible with the park and with the area. And the current redevelopment plan calls for that type of use, doesn't specifically say marina-related use, so we have to go through and indicate that those types of uses would be acceptable, and the proposals would be viewed and ranked based upon the benefit to the agency and the borough.
Thank you.
And to follow up on that, if you were done, just to confirm, it was posted on Tuesday, and anyone who wants to make a proposal has until February 28th, 2017, 12 noon. For any of the agency, I have hard copies. Dave has, well, I have a hard copy. Dave has hard copies for those who don't want to go on the computer and look it up. Not that I'm looking at anyone particularly. But otherwise, if you use the website, any problems, I know there've been some problems accessing it. If they're not resolved, give me a call so I can talk to Mr. Brackett about resolving them.
Yeah, there's a lot of maps in it also. That's why we didn't go through that's why we put it on the website to facilitate somebody looking at it.
Hello? Yes.
All right, resolution for holding a private executive session. Joey, would you read the resolution?
So moved.
He has to read it first.
Resolution of the SERA Economic Redevelopment Agency to go into executive closed session.
Have a motion to go into closed?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Lock it. Business. We had a meeting in Morgan last night, and some of the residents were saying that the road that they put in front of the Club Benet, those cobblestones, were coming up and moving around.
Been moving, sinking, yeah.
So is this something we want to do?
Candidly, yeah, I think you should still do it. That he technically has a maintenance bond, but you know, the scenario is anytime you do brick pavers, that happens, okay? And especially during a freeze-thaw cycle until the road gets set. But even the old sections of road we don't touch, okay, have moving bricks. So I think what we have to go through and do is put him on notice that he has to go through and repair under his maintenance period the road, but I don't think you should hold up the action.
How long is his maintenance contract for that? Because eventually we're gonna be stuck with that, you know, after his contract is.
Well,
Right.
from the standpoint, the borough requires a 1-year maintenance bond,
Yeah,
so.
so after that 1 year, this is gonna happen with those type of bricks, you know.
That's why you don't see brick roads.
No.
Too much
Exactly
anymore.
right. Yep.
Historical Society wanted it.
Yeah.
That's your buddy Rittenhouse made us do this.
That's why we brought you here.
Okay, under new business, A, resolution of the SERA Economic and Redevelopment Agency. I can read it.
You can read that, and then Anthony has the text of it because he left it on his phone.
We have the test of it right here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we printed it out.
Oh, okay.
Anthony got this over to us. So we have,
very good.
anyone wants to review this, if you want to take a quick look. or read along.
You're more efficient than you thought, Anthony.
No, I have my copy.
But just in general terms, it's a resolution. The professionals have confirmed that the development in Morgan, that is now Highview Homes LLC, formerly Chase Partners, has completed the requirements that are part of the redevelopment agreement, and as far as we know, they're in compliance with other, whatever else is required by the town, and we're therefore asking the agency to consider a resolution saying that we can refund their escrow and that they've completed. It'll be considered a certificate of completion, which is part of our obligation, assuming we find that under the redevelopment agreement.
They have a motion to approve this resolution.
I make a motion, we approve the resolution.
Second?
Roll call, please. Joan, you have the camera back on, right? Okay.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Abstain.
Mr. Giuliano?
Yes.
Mr. Pollanco?
Yes.
Mr. Gravano?
He said abstain.
Mr. Delina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Patrick?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes. Okay, any comments from the commissioners?
I heard Wawa was approved last night, right? Did you hear it? Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't there, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we're gonna, yeah, I wanna bring it up. Wawa's not a problem.
Yeah, I just said, comment.
Yeah.
All right, well, I have another one. Let me ask you a question. On the movie theater, are we still looking for, are you still looking for someone to
Yeah.
buy it?
Well, we're looking, obviously, for somebody to redevelop it in the way the agency wants them to. I have been talking with the attorney for the owner, okay, the cinemas, and they are working on trying to go through and come up with a development team that might be able to make it work. The thing that is tricky for them is that right now, if you were to develop it, you really would have to go to Perth Amboy to come to it, because you can only get to it. So the challenge of putting something good on that site requires you to put in an overpass or a flyover to go through and be able to enter the site, or wait for the Point to develop its roadway network so they can connect it. So that's the reason that really nothing has moved forward on that site.
There was a guy, I think, when originally, many years ago with the Point, his name was Joe Romano. Do you remember him?
I remember, but I don't know if he was with the Point or.
No, he was with a developer. He's a developer
Yep.
now. He's building some. I received a call and I said, well, yeah, I believe,
Hey, if we can.
I'll have him.
Have him talk to Joe or I,
Okay.
and we'll go through
All
and
right.
advise him. But the truth of the matter is, he's gonna have to deal with the cinema owners, okay? Because unfortunately, the cinema owners don't wanna go through and put it in a redevelopment zone. So they would object to it. But I have the attorney really rethinking that with them, because he recognizes the value of putting it into a redevelopment.
Yeah, I never understood why they didn't want to do that.
What is the reason?
They were afraid of condemning it
Yeah.
and taking it away from them, and,
Which we still can do anyway.
yeah, but with a redevelopment zone, it is easier, okay? To go through and take somebody's property, if it's not a redevelopment zone just for development, I don't think you can do.
Right. But we are the redeveloped agency.
Right.
and we can
Yeah,
do it.
if there were a finding that it was an area in need of redevelopment, which it obviously
Yeah,
is,
that's the
Yep.
criteria.
then you could put it in the zone, and they challenged it last time in court, and they probably would do it again. The shame of it is, they missed, 8 years of development potential?
That's right, and the reason that the borough didn't fight it, or the agency didn't fight it back then, is because that was simultaneously with the National Lead site, and we didn't want to have that delayed for 2 years in litigation.
Dave, can you talk a little bit about the Parkway ramp, the
Sure.
article that was in the newspaper
Yep.
about the toll?
The Parkway ramp, when we were going through our negotiation with the Parkway came to us and said, the only way that we could fit a ramp here to go through and give you access to your site is to go through and put in a easy pass lane, no other lanes, just the easy pass lanes. So from the standpoint, recognizing that that's not necessarily perfect for us, we'd like to have more, but the Turnpike Authority was going to invest I think it's about $80 million.
Yes.
Okay, we recommended to this agency that you go through and allow that to happen. Figuring that if somebody wasn't gonna go, that didn't have Easy Pass, they'd have to go up the Main Street and come down Main Street Extension to go to the site. Because that's what would happen, they'd pay the toll through the toll plaza and come back down. But, you know, from the standpoint of going through and having them change that, the people at my level that I talk to aren't in any position to talk about a change because they have a big agreement that is locked up. Whether the higher-ups, meaning the Commissioner of Transportation, the Director and Commissioners on the Turnpike Authority can go through and do anything else, that's a possibility, but I can't tell you that we can go through and get anything else done.
Are there 2 lanes coming off?
Yes,
Just the
there's 2.
Yeah, there's
Can
2
one
lanes.
of them
Two
be
lanes.
exact change?
The problem is, they just want to go through and put the arches over with the
Oh,
reeds.
they don't wanna have
anybody there. Nobody there.
I know, but even the exact change, you don't have to have anybody there.
You don't have to have
That's
anything
right,
there, but what
but
happens?
the
when you-
situation is they have to build the
Yeah.
building,
Yeah.
it takes,
Oh, okay.
takes a wider area. They have wetlands on one side and they have Brian's development, and I think there's a sheet piling wall there that was put in, so it becomes a difficult problem for them. I don't wanna say it's impossible to do that, but it's gonna be very much more expensive to do that.
Dave, when you ride the Parkway, it says Easy Pass or Exact Change in the same booth.
Yeah,
Yes,
Well,
right.
why
But
can't
you
they
say
do
they're
that?
not putting
You know what?
because they're not
They
building
don't do
They're
booths.
not putting boots in, they're doing
Oh.
those.
The overhead, so they
overhead.
just
Read it,
clock
they read
in,
it,
they
that's
just
all.
look at your license plate. But I think in New York, they're doing it where, you know, even with the booth, and if you don't have the Easy Pass, then they bill you. So
That's
why
what I was
couldn't,
under the
But
right,
as of
But it's gonna be-
2020, the Turnpike is gonna go, the toll collectors will not
Right.
be there anymore.
Uh-huh.
So they'll be going to credit cards for anyone who do not have Easy Pass, where the toll booth right now, which is being manned. They're going to credit cards, or you know, you could set up other accounts other than the Easy Pass, where they have it's just a
Yeah.
light bar or
Right.
something
Yeah.
where you
That's right.
just, the high-speed Easy Pass, you just go
Yeah.
through. So why can't they do something
Well,
like
that's
that where
what we're
you
asking,
go
you know.
through with the credit card?
Again, you need
If
some
there's
type of.
two lanes.
Yeah, but you need some type of structure there. The width is very narrow, and I'm not saying they can't do it, okay?
but that's
That-
2020.
that-
2020.
That is,
That's
that is
what
up
I
to
think,
them
right,
to do. It is their,
Oh,
it is
Yeah,
their
that's what we
roadway.
started this 10 years ago.
We can go through and request it, okay? We can't require it.
Right, but addendums can be made, you know, like, once they set it up and
Of course.
you see how it's flowing, and if there's the space available.
The truth of the matter is, the only way that you're going to go through and get them to change from just having the Easy Pass lanes is to go through and get to the commissioners, to the executive director, and say, we really need this to happen. Okay? And their response may be, yeah, it would be nice if that we could do that, but if somebody doesn't have Easy Pass, we'll have signage to warn them, and they can get off at the next exit and come back. Okay? For our development standpoint, getting it with at least Easy Pass was a big win, rather than not getting anything at all. Okay? Because somebody that's gonna write a check as big as that, really has to have some say in what they're gonna go through and do, so.
This guy O'Hearn told me that if you don't have Easy Pass, it's $50 fine plus the $1.50.
Yeah.
That's the,
Can we at least get them to,
Get the fine alleviated?
yeah, something like that, I mean,
Mike, I'm not
It
going
doesn't
to
hurt to
go
ask.
through and, yeah, but I don't think that it, if I'm gonna be talking with somebody, I'm gonna be talking primarily with the engineering
Yeah,
department.
right, yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
If that is something that we want to go through and negotiate, I think we need to have an appropriate level person negotiate with them, either as the commissioner or as the executive director, I mean, I can try, but I'm not optimistic that that's going to go through and work. Because they're gonna refer me to the engineer, and the engineer's gonna say, no, we can't do it.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna have to go over your head, Dave, sorry.
That's what I've been telling you.
Yeah, and FYI, most of the administrative fees, if you're not a chronic, easy pass scalpel, they'll waive the fees. But if it's like a regular thing, like the one person in the paper, $1 million, how
Yeah.
do you get away with $1 million in easy pass, you know, because if you're not chronic, they'll waive that, the $50 fee.
Yeah.
But
I mean, in all seriousness, the Turnpike Authority has given us a great deal, okay? Yeah, we'd like it to be a little better by having, you know, conventional tolls there, but we have a good deal to get
If they
all
have the
those lanes.
technology to read your plate and send you a bill
Yep.
for $50, they have the technology to send you a bill for $1.50, just like they do in Florida and some bridges in New York.
saying,
Yeah.
Yeah, New York.
They do, they charge,
But,
they charge.
but
for
again,
it.
that is higher level
Yeah.
than engineer to
But in
engineer.
Florida, Mike, you must admit, you got to buy that easy pass as soon as you go into the state for any length of time. Even if you're on vacation, if you're gonna use their roads, you have to buy their easy pass going into the state.
There's some rental car companies where you could just sign into a website
Yeah.
and pay your bill with your credit card as well if you rent a car.
Well, we must be behind the times, right?
We probably are,
They have the technology to just.
probably are.
Hey,
It's
it's a function of what their computer
Yeah.
programs are. and
I'm sure
everything
it'll
else.
catch up.
And besides, 2020, they'll have a whole new group of commissioners, so
Oh, yeah.
you have somebody else to deal with.
That's right.
Okay.
Any
Any
commissioners?
comments, any other comments? from
Hey,
commissioners?
Dave, Hercules, anything happening? with
Yeah,
that?
matter of fact, I had a meeting today with
Okay.
a representative from Hercules,
Right, yeah.
Glenn Stock, their redevelopment person, sorry. And it was primarily to go over timing, okay?
Yeah.
As you know, they wound up going through and paid the escrow fee for John Leon Cavallo to go through and do the report on the
Yeah.
need for
Yeah,
the
need for
redevelopment,
redevelopment, yeah.
okay? We asked them to go through and get us some information with regard to what their requirements are from the standpoint of the redevelopment. Once we get all of those, and they gave us some sketches
Yeah.
today, they wound up going through and gave us some wording, but they said, hey, we know this isn't acceptable yet, based upon previous meetings that we had with them. So, in the next 2 weeks, they're supposed to come back to me with additional plans, with some suggested wording. Then we're gonna have to have them post an escrow so that a redevelopment plan could be prepared. We'll go through and work with Mike on the redevelopment plan. We'll go through and then recommend that to the agency if it's appropriate, and the agency would then recommend that to the mayor and council and the planning board.
So I know open space, we'd like to get some open space out of that, because we're losing our open space to the co-op, because they're taking the property to build homes. That we want to have open space.
In 11
That-
years, and a lot could change.
That is being discussed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments? Have a motion open to the public?
Make a motion, we open to the public.
Second.
I'll make a motion, we close to
Favor?
the public.
Ayes have
Seeing
it.
as how there's no public.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion, we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, everyone.
And then Mr.